Everybody. I'll call the August 27th, 2025 Board of Directors for the Southeastern Public Service Authority meeting to order. And first thing would be a pledge of allegiance. If everybody will please stand and face the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Please be seated. Madam Secretary, do we have a quorum?
Yes, we do.
And I would like to note that Cheryl Ralston is participating electronically. Cheryl, are you there?
Yes.
Good. Could you please state the reason for your electronic participation and your location?
All right. I've moved to Richmond. My address is 3828 Old Burley Lane, Burleigh. So I'm more than, it's in Enrico. I'm more than 60 miles away.
Okay. And Brett, did you have any comments on that? Yeah. All right.
Yeah, I just wanted everybody to know that one of the grounds for participating remotely under the state law and under our policy is if a person's principal residence is more than 60 miles away from the meeting location. And since Cheryl has moved to Henrico, she's allowed to participate that way. And it doesn't count against her personal or medical uses of it.
All right. Well, thank you. And Cheryl, welcome. And
Thank you.
I'm glad you're able to make it. So do we have anybody signed up for public comment?
No one has registered to make a public comment in person or electronically.
Okay. So under Chairman's comments, I suppose everybody here is figuring out that you have two buttons in front of you. I figured out at least the one that has the little person with the sort of earphones is the one you push if you want to talk. And I think you're also seeing our new screens. And so I do want to point out, and you'll get a little bit more instruction on this later from the executive director, but I'd like to recognize Rob and Zach from SPSA's IT department. These are the two you can thank for the slides and the new equipment. Let's give them a round of applause. Long time coming. Thank you, gentlemen. I would also, we have a new ex officio board member from Suffolk, Mr. Kevin Hughes, interim city manager. Mr. Hughes, welcome. Look forward to working with you. And under our audit committee update, Mr. Maxwell, who's chairman of the audit committee, do you have any comments to make?
Just briefly, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yeah, we had a kind of a general meeting about a week ago. We just met, went over a few things. All of us have delineated to the auditor some of the issues we'd like to have them cover. We'll have another meeting shortly to get everything, but things are on track and we're moving well. Very helpful from the treasurer of the organization, but very helpful to us. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Maxwell, and thank you for taking over the roles of that position. I just have a couple other comments. I sent out, Dennis and I sent out a letter to all the chief administrative officers and all the chief elected officers of our 8 members and all the board members, dated August 18th. I'm expecting that letter will generate questions from your principals and maybe the council or board members of the governing bodies. And it's very important that if you get those questions, that you forward them to Dennis or I, Dennis first or both of us. I'm expecting that many of the questions raised by one board member or council member of one jurisdiction is going to be the same kind of question that another board member or a council member will have. And we want to put this together in some FAQs, very effective tool. So that everybody is able to see the exact same answer for the same question. So please, if you get these questions or concerns from your principals or governing board members, please pass them on to us. So obviously, very important today. We're going to talk about finalizing the contract with Commonwealth Sortation and getting these amendments to the use and support agreement executed. I would have to say, in wrapping this up, that it's really the mission critical strategy goal for this organization for the next 4 months. And really, that's what I'm just going to keep hammering on. And then lastly, remind everybody that I've been telling people about the changeover in our board, some that are required by law, some that are required because people have, life is moving people around. And I will be sending out a letter again to all the chief administrative officers and chief elected officers of the members, advising them of that and giving them some documentation to help them guide. But certainly, we have a lot of important votes here in the next coming months. We'd like to have everybody here, everybody able to vote, and make sure all of our members are represented. Thank you. So at this point, we'll move on to the minutes. I would hope that everybody has received and read the minutes by now. I would say that at the July board meeting, Mr. McCoy asked that the minutes for the May meeting be adjusted because he was listed as absent when he attempted to participate electronically, but could not do so because of a technical issue. The May minutes were voted on and approved at the June board meeting. We can't go back and change the content of the approved minutes, but we can approve a motion or amend the minutes as adopted to reflect the correction of the minutes of this meeting. And we have a suggested change. And the issue was that Mr. McCoy was listening in, but we weren't able to hear him, so he was listed as absent. So anyway, the motion is that I would move that the approved minutes of the May meeting of the Board of Directors be amended to indicate that, quote, Mr. McCoy attempted to participate in the meeting electronically, but could not do so because of a technical issue. Mr. McCoy monitored the meeting electronically, but did not participate in any voting or discussion, end quote. And that amendment would be reflected in our August minutes. So would somebody like to make that motion? Mr. Broad moved and Mr. Kiefer has seconded. Is there any discussion, questions? Nope. All right. So all in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Ms. Ralston?
Aye.
Okay. It's covered.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
And I want to point out the importance of that is that Mr. McCoy has one of the best attendance records of any board member we've ever had. So it's very important that we reflect that. So the minutes of the July 23rd, 2025 SPSA Board of Directors meetings were distributed and included. There was one correction made on page 7 of the minutes, or page 11 in your agenda packet. In the first paragraph, fourth sentence, the word contact had a typo and has been corrected in your agenda packets. And I'm expecting that everybody here caught that, right? Actually, Mr. Broad caught it, Richard Broad caught it. So if you have any complicated document and you want someone to check it out, Mr. Broad is the guy that you want to take it to and have him read that contract for you. If there are any other approvals or if there are any other corrections on the minutes, if not, I'll take a motion to approve the minutes. Moved by Mr. McCoy. Any seconds? Second by Mr. Kiefer. Any additional discussion? No? Okay, so at this point, I take a vote to approve the minutes for the July meeting. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And any abstentions? Mr. Hughes, do you have to abstain? Oh, okay, well, there you go. Is that good? Mr. Hughes is,
Yes, I mean,
Okay.
people usually abstain if there's in one instance, if there's a conflict that they have and they really can't vote on it, and that's not a situation here.
okay,
Most people do it if they haven't attended the prior meeting, just because they don't feel like they can vote on it, but there's no requirement one way or the other to
Okay.
abstain, and he was here, so.
All right, so it's carried unanimously. Thank you very much, and thank you, Mr. Hughes. At this point now, I will turn the floor over to our executive director for his updates.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First slide, I want to give you a little history, first of all, for those who weren't on the board at that time. 1 year ago, when we brought the surplus of end-of-year financial and had surplus, you authorized $125,000 to be used for the board upgrades. That took a long time because we were working with the PDC, trying to make sure that all of our interests were kind of collected and made sure that the system that we installed met everybody's requirements. So there's a couple of things. I hope you brought your sunglasses today, because you can see from the screens that they're much, much brighter. When we get into the presentation, some of the more detailed slides, you're going to probably be in awe about how well these projectors perform. We've been through it. I'm really excited about that. The microphones that are in front of you, the button on the right is the talk button, and you can engage 4 different speakers at the same time. One of the problems we had with our previous mics is if you had more than a couple of 3 people on, it would knock the rest of them off. That's not the case here. Once you push your button, your light will stay red until you turn it off. One member can't knock another one off. The other thing is the left button on your microphone in front of you is part of an upgrade that's available for this system, and we're looking now at implementing that. The left button would be used for voting. There'll be a screen on the wall. Each of the microphone cabinets have a place to slide a card in that would be unique to you. And when you vote, it would come up on the screen that you voted one way or the other. So that's an upgrade that we're working on. We don't have the final pricing back, but we believe that it's going to be a reasonable cost involved in that. We're looking forward to moving forward with that. The PDC is also interested in that same functionality. So the next item is the cameras. You'll see around the room, there's 6 cameras. There's one that's not in place because it was DOA when they went to install it, but the other 5 are operational. I have total control of those cameras from the desk over where the IT folks are at, and they will be able to zoom in on who's speaking, record that. There's a possibility of doing live streaming. We're looking at recording that and putting it on a YouTube channel. And for our September meeting, we're doing some testing today. We make sure that what we put out is good quality material. So our board meetings moving forward will be public and video. So we're excited about that. I want to thank our IT staff, and Chris Vignay, who was standing over here on the side from the PDC, was instrumental in helping get all this done. He's not here now. He just stepped out just before I started speaking, but he was also involved and helped. But our IT folks kind of led the charge on this, and I'm really, really happy with the work that they've done. I think you will be too at the end of the meeting today. So with that, I thank you, Zach and Rob. So next, I tell you this all the time. I have the best job in the world. Not only do I love trash, I love to talk trash. I love the people that I work with, and it's never a day goes by that I'm not just amazed at the quality of the people and the really the culture that we've been able to build here at SPSA. We were in an executive meeting, and I said, I remember back when I was really, really young and had children going to school. It was tough at the beginning of the year when I had to get new clothes and school supplies and all that. So it would be nice if we could do something to help our employees. So we had a group come together. We'll take care of that. And they put, here's Chris just coming through the door. Chris, I was just thanking you for all your work on the board meeting. And this group came together and they said, well, we'll work on that. And they came back and they put together a school supply drive. And we were able we asked every employee how many children they had, and there were some who had children that didn't necessarily get involved in this because they were executive team. It's not an issue for them. But so we had 41 children identified across our whole entire organization, and we raised enough school supplies and money to purchase school supplies to be able to outfit all 41 of those children with everything they needed for school. And our team went out to pulled all of the cards from the schools they went to make sure that we had the things that they were on their list. And without the employees really even knowing it, they showed up and gave each one of the employees the school supplies for their children to start back to school with. And it just, that's what makes my job so special. It's not, it's the people that I work with. And you have a team built here that will carry this organization a long way if you just let it. And this board has been an integral part of building that culture by ensuring that when we looked at our salaries and our salaries were not up to par, this board stood up and said, we're going to make that right. And our employees appreciate that. And that's part of what this culture is all about. And I'm proud of all of them. A lot of them are here today. A lot of them are out working, doing what they're supposed to do, but I'm really proud of them. I do want to recognize those folks who are kind of led the drive team. And that's Cam Smith Stanley. She's our IT director. All of you know her. HR director. Rebecca Hartley, she's a scale house supervisor, and she's the one that communicates with everybody all the time because she's out and about. And then Deborah White, who is executive assistant. So I appreciate all you all do. I appreciate being able to be at the helm of an organization like this. So thank you. The first update for today is the leachate evaporator. This is a completion schedule that the contractor has given us, and our consultant and our staff has said that we don't believe this is going to happen. We just don't see the end game here. And sure enough, yesterday afternoon, we got a phone call. Staff got a phone call from the contractor wanting an additional 15 days because one of the parts in for the fires to flare has failed, and they got to order a new one. So these are dates they've given us, but they're looking now to push back 15 days. We haven't really had a chance to have a conversation with them, but I just want to kind of put that into perspective. This is their dates, but they're asking for additional time now of 15 days. Next is the flyover update. We have a meeting with the VDOT once a month with their project team that they go over project schedules, budgets, upcoming work, that sort of thing at a high level. The two issues that were important at this particular meeting was, as you know, they've fallen behind on the project and they're continuing to fall further behind. VDOT has asked them to provide a process improvement plan. They've done that, and VDOT feels like that they'll be back on schedule by November. And actually, with the plan that they've put in, that they think they may be able to finish before June, which is their completion date. If you've been by there, you've seen a lot of work going on. They're getting ready to set bridge columns or bridge piers across the bridge girders across the piers next month. And one of the things that's going to happen during that process is there'll be a lane closure, or actually complete closure of 58 when they lay those beams across the highway. There's also another section where they're going to have to put some material in the ditch and relocate a drain that's going to close Bob Fowler. And SPSA and the city of Suffolk is working collectively with the contractor to schedule that and make some adjustments to their plans so that it better meets the needs of each of us. So we'll see more of that as we move forward. This is on the eastbound side of 58. It's the first pier that's been set with, you see where the bridge girder is going to go across the top. That's actually complete and ready. Here is a relocation of a ditch on the eastbound side that had to take place because the exit ramp goes over an existing ditch and they had to relocate that. The first picture up in the left-hand corner was what I showed you at our last meeting. The picture at the bottom is the completed project where they've actually planted grass and it's actually operating. The next picture is the work platform in the center, which has been a problematic part of the project for them because of the wetlands that are there. The top picture is where we were last month. The bottom picture is the coffer dam completed. That was taken, I believe it was the 30th of July, the picture on the bottom. So they're well out of the ground with some pilings and beginning to form up for the concrete to go across the center. And this slide shows, as you know, how the bridge will go over 58 over into SPSA's land, and then there'll be a road that's built that takes the place of the entrance that's going into Bob Fuller now, and there will also be an exit off of that road back onto 58 westbound. This is called the teardrop area. They're actually have started building the base of that road, so they're well on their way to, and they're making progress, but they're still behind schedule. But with the improvement plan, VDOT feels like they'll be back on schedule in November. Any questions on or comments from Suffolk on the project?
We've actually invited the contractor VDOT to provide a work session update September 3rd at a council meeting. And so we want to bring some of this information to the council, especially some of the anticipated road closures, and make sure that we're well coordinated and have a public outreach as part of that.
Any other questions? Okay. The next item is the updates to the member communities. I was in Franklin on the 11th and briefed their city council, had a very good conversation with the mayor before and after the meeting. I think that the mayor understands the importance of getting this before the council and getting a vote. So I don't have an update on when they're going to actually bring it to council, but I feel comfortable that the mayor is on board with the importance of making this happen. Scheduled to brief Virginia Beach City Council on September the 9th. Actually, the chairman is going to provide that briefing since he has a lot of experience with the city of Virginia Beach and history with a lot of the council members. There's a scheduled to brief Southampton Board of Supervisors on the 23rd. And if if you want to add anything to that, Shara?
We have confirmed the 23rd, and we'll also be asking the board to hopefully approve those agreements at that same time.
That's what I didn't want to say that. I was hoping you would.
Get it all done at once.
All right. And the next is we've sent out letters to all of the about the use of support agreements to all the CAOs and the mayors or chairman of the board of supervisors. That was a very well-written letter that answers a lot of questions. I think it was made. We've got a lot of comments back from that, and we've answered most of those comments already. But as the chairman has said, as those questions come in, or if you have questions, please share them with us so that we can generate the information that you need to answer those questions, and that so that we're all moving forward in the same on the same page of music. General counsel is in contact with all of the attorneys. He's been well received, and I'll ask if Brett has anything he wants to add to that about his conversations.
Nothing specifically. It'll be a topic we'll go over in closed session as well. Yeah. So if everybody has any comments, we can take it up then.
All right. So we're moving forward, and we're actively pursuing this on a daily basis. Anytime we have an opportunity to talk to anybody, we're talking to them, and we're reaching out to folks that we haven't reached out to in the past. So I tell you that we sent some information out through our communications folks to communications people in most of the cities. We got a response back. I apologize. I directed our communications people to send it out because at our last meeting, we said we were going to send this information out. But moving forward, before we send that out, we'll make sure that each one of you receive something prior to us sending it out to any of the communications departments within our member communities. So July tonnages.
Dennis, before you move on, I just want to say something. Dennis was able to respond pretty quickly to some questions that my city manager had right before our council meeting last night. We were able to have a closed session about it based on the information that Dennis was able to give. He has copies of the questions that were asked if you wanted to include it in your FAQs. And I think we're going to be ready to sign on to the agreement on our next council business meeting, which will be the 9th of September. So that's the update from Portsmouth.
Thank you. Any other comments on that? Okay. July tonnages, we normally see this in a chart form, but since it's the first month of the year, all you see is a dot. So I decided I would do a little differently this year and just lay out the tons for the first year, for the first month of the year. Monthly municipal tons that we budgeted this year were 37,525 tons. We actually brought in this month 43,810 tons, which is above our budget amount, or pretty. The monthly commercial tons budgeted for the year was, or for the month this year was 24,680, and the commercial tons that we received were 28,932. So you can see we're well above budgeted numbers for this year in the first month. But as you also remember the charts, they kind of trend up and down. So we'll be below some and we'll be up above some. And hopefully at the end of the year, we'll be right on the money. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Sandy to go over our year-end surplus numbers. Then we'll have a motion for you.
Good morning. I'm just going to review the FY25 final numbers. Overall revenue for the year was $70.9 million. Total tipping fees were $50.7 million. And I just want to point out, although we were under about $1 million on municipal tip fees, which we expected throughout the year, we did end up $5.7 million over on the other tip fees, which 2.4 of that was the contract waste and 1.8 million of that was non-contract waste. Also, I wanted to point out the e-waste for FY25, we ended up about 43,000 above what we had projected. Total expenses for FY25 ended up at 67.6 million. Personnel, we had some concerns throughout the year about overtime. So overall, the personnel budget, we came in under budget, but we did have about 541,000 over budget in overtime when you break it down. Our total legal fees for the year, which was also a concern, they were 662,000 this year. That was 220,000 higher than the previous year, just to give you an idea of how much we were spending. And then the big line that was over budget was the contract waste. And that was, of course, because the commercial tons were higher than what was projected. So the cost of the hauling and disposal of those tons was also high. We spent with waste management 9.2 million. RDS was 1.9 million, and the hauling expenses for those tonnages were 6.3 million that we paid to MBI. So overall for the year, we ended up with a surplus of 3.2 million. And then the recommendation for that 3.2 million is to establish a rate stabilization fund with a beginning balance of $1 million, and then put the remaining money into the landfill expansion and flyover funds. Any questions?
So if there are no questions.
If there are no questions of our treasurer, I would ask for a motion and a second to approve the fiscal 2025 appropriation of the budget surplus as presented.
So moved.
A motion and a second. Any additional discussion? If not, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Mr. Alston, are you there?
Lori, aye.
Okay, aye. All right, so the motion's carried unanimously.
Mr. Chairman, if I could say, this surplus that we saw this year,
Sure. I just have a question.
Okay.
Just a question. The
Yeah.
rate stabilization fund, is there any plan or program to increase that? Is there, or is this?
Yes,
something-
sir, there is. We'll discuss that in closed session today.
Thank you.
Okay, I just wanted to bring to your attention, with the municipal tons being low as we've gone through the year, and we continually shared this information with you as we saw this happening, our employees really tightened their belts and made some serious sacrifices to make sure that because we were wondering whether we were going to be over or under for a long time, but it was only because of those reductions that our employees took to save money was the only reason why we're where we are. We did receive more revenue from commercial waste because a lot of that came from, as Sandy already told you, a lot of that came from non-contract commercial waste, which is the highest rate that we charge. So we did have more revenue coming in than we expected, but we would not be looking at this type of surplus if it hadn't been for the cuts that our employees made and sacrifice they made from the capital budget that we're hopefully going to be able to bring back up this year and fund in this year's capital budget. So I thank staff for that. We have some contracts to bring before you today. The first is for walking floor trailers. We have budgeted this year $470,900 in the capital budget to purchase 4 new 48-foot Titan walking floor trailers. We've had some catastrophic failures in several of our 2006 models that we were planning to reuse this year. Because of the ash that we were in for so many years at the landfill, the actual fifth wheel plate that's where the trailers hook into, they're just corroded away and they have to be replaced. We looked at having the manufacturer do some of the repairs on that, and those repairs put the price up in the $80,000 range to repair them, and they would still be the whole entire rest of the chassis, the axles, the brakes, and all the other things, hydraulics that go with it, are still the old hydraulics. So our recommendation for this particular contract is to increase that from 4 trailers to 8 trailers. So the actual cost would go up to $924,720, which is still the same price per trailer, but we're adding 4 trailers to that. And the way we're suggesting that we fund that is we have in the capital budget this year a asphalt project to repave the road going into the landfill, but because of construction of the cell 7 and the amount of heavy equipment that's going on there, we're recommending to delay that pavement project until next year after the landfill is complete, so we don't have all that heavy equipment coming in across it. Use that money to purchase the trailers this year that we would be purchasing next year under the existing plan. So we would be actually cutting out about $500,000 in a paving project in order to fund the additional money for the 4 trailers. Ken's Truck Repair out of Chevron, East Illinois is the manufacturer's representative that sells these trailers. We're buying it off of an HGAC contract. Contract number is TR 11-18. Staff recommends a motion to approve.
All right, so I would ask for a motion and a second to authorize the executive director to award a contract to Ken's Truck Repair for the purchase of 8 municipal solid waste walking floor trailers as presented.
So moved.
Motion. And a second. Is there any discussion or questions for the executive director? If not, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Ms. Ralston?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, the motion's carried unanimously.
Thank you. Next, we're going to have a briefing from SCS engineers on our construction of cell 7. They assisted with the evaluation of the bids. They'll give you a report, then I'll give you a staff report, and then we'll move forward from there.
Mr. Chairman, board members, good morning. As you know, the regional landfill is kind of like a strategic game, and there are lots of parts that are ongoing, and that we're having to make strategic moves in order to develop the landfill. And the Cell 7 construction is one of those strategic parts. We have modifications that we're dealing with on Cell 5 and 6, which we anticipate to be approved by VDEQ by the end of the year, which will hopefully extend that particular cell further into the future. We also have modifications to Cell 7, which is going to be constructed, which will add additional capacity to that site as well. The good news that we heard, a month or so ago with regards to the EHIS for Cell 8 being approved, that's a big deal. So in terms of having all your major parts together, SPSA is in a good stead. So the Cell 7 Phase 1 construction is the next step along the way with regards to the development of the landfill. As you know, the Cell 7 is going to be ultimately developed. This is the overall site view of the site. Will give us about 12 million cubic yards of additional capacity. It will ultimately be developed in two phases in terms of developing the landfill. Phase 1 is on the eastern side of the cell, which is the subject of this particular contract, and Phase 2 is on the western side of the cell. There's also a Phase 3 on Cell 7, but that will be done sometime in the future. We'll actually go into Cell 8 before we go back into Cell 7 for piggybacking purposes. Anyway, so we went out to bid on this particular project in May of this past year, and we received the bids in July. And over the last month, we've been evaluating the bids. We received 3 bids, one from Ryan Central, one from Morgan Corp, and the other one from Thale Corp. Our engineer's estimate was about $22.3 million, and the bids ranged from roughly $21 million to $30 million. Our overall recommendation going forward, based on the evaluation that we looked at, and that evaluation included looking at the technical specifications, their plans, have they done this kind of work before, what's their experience, their ability to comply with the specified project requirements and schedule, and then ultimately the price. And as you know, from an engineering perspective, it's always a little bit nerve-wracking when you put together these estimates on these big projects, because you never really know, given what the economy is doing, what those bids are going to come in. The good news with regards to this particular project is the bids were within the range of the engineer's estimate, which is always a good thing from our perspective, and also from a budgeting perspective. In our evaluation, Ryan Central not only being the lowest price overall, but they also came in terms of all the other parts of the evaluation scored a higher on the evaluation scores. So SES's recommendation is for the Cell 7 Phase 1 construction to be awarded to Ryan Central.
Thank you. Bob, if you stay right there,
Sure.
in case there are any questions. There's a couple of things I wanted to add. There's in front of you in your packet, we included a breakdown of all the components of the bid that was done by our consultants. And at the end of that, there's an average bid price. One of the things that's probably coming to your mind now is, why is there such a large difference in the low bid and the high bid? Well, it's $10 million on a $20 million project. We had the same concern originally. That's why we did this thorough breakdown of the cost for each component of the bid. And we determined who was low for each one. Each of the 3 of the bidders all were low on some portion of it. I will say to you, though, one of the biggest items that there was a difference in was excavation of soil. That's the removal of the soil to get down to the base grade so we can start building a landfill. The low bid had a price of $4,860,000. The mid-range bid was $8,600,000, and the high bid was $13 million, and that's just for excavation of soil. So that's really a big portion of this amount. We also were concerned enough that we sat down with Ryan, and a representative from Ryan is here with us today, and said, hey, your bids there's a big disparity between the low and the high. Are you sure? They said, we know we can do this for what we said. And there was a level of confidence that you just don't typically get with every contractor you sit down at the table with. So we are very pleased that the bids are where they are. The contractor is comfortable with his price and has even offered a reduction from this price if we can get the gas company to allow us to cross over the gas line rather than having to go around the gas line. That could be a deduct of probably $300,000 with $150,000 cost if we choose to do that. So we're working through that. Henry's talking to the gas company now to see if we can make that happen. So I think we're really comfortable with this bid and the bidder. So we would ask for a motion to award the contract to Ryan Central in the amount of $20,995,000. This was done as the RFP, and as Bob has already told you, the engineer's estimate of probable cost was $22,340,700, and this came in under that. And anytime that happens, I'm really happy. So with that, we recommend a motion to award the contract, Mr. Chairman.
Are there any questions for the executive director or our consultant? Okay, so our executive director has asked for a motion to approve.
Mr. Chair.
Yep. Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Hanson. Go ahead.
First of all, Dennis, I want to say thank you. First thing, when I saw the discrepancy in the price, I was like, I was concerned. Thank you for providing this. This is very helpful to understand, and thank you for going the distance to explain to us why the discrepancies. The only thing I would ask is, we have a contingency for this project, is that correct?
Yes.
Do you know, I know I'm hitting you cold. Do you know what the contingency is for this?
I don't, but I can send that out to you all after the meeting.
And so the reason I ask is because the previous item, we established $1 million for a fund stabilization, and then we put 2.2 million for cell 7 construction and for the road project. To the best of my knowledge, the road project isn't looking at a lot of large increases. This one came in at bid. Did we, I guess I'm curious why you put the 2.2 towards this project with the knowledge of what you currently have. Are you seeing something that I'm not seeing?
Well, the reason is because the bid for the overpass came in at $40 million when we had originally bid that. When our original estimates were around 22 million, and then we saw that bid go up to 34 million, and then when the bid was let, then it was 40 million. So what we've been trying to do, and if you'll notice in our in our operating budget this year, last year we went up to 9 million to put money away for that increase from 23 million. We did the same thing again this year to put 9 million, and the 2 million is there for partly for that contingency that we may need for this project. Because I really, I can't emphasize to you that I'm very comfortable with this bidder. They do a lot of work in our area, and we got very, very high marks from them. They came back to us with a deduct, not an increase, and they have done some bid alternates that we can look at. So as we get through the contract closer, we'll look at that. But I really think that the contingencies are not going to be as great as you might think on a project this size, just because of the quality of the contractor that we're engaging with.
I will say though, the unit pricing for the excavation that's a stark difference between the low bid and the high bid. And so I'm just cautious, that's all. Been burned.
Understood.
Okay, all right. Thank you. With that, I'll make a motion to approve.
And do I have a second? So I have a second from either, I think Mr. Sorry was first. I will, as far as discussion, I will point out that as you've seen, almost all of the difference in the bids were related to the cost of excavation. And this was discussed extensively in the executive meeting, and executive director and his consulting engineer has had discussions with the contractor, and they seem to, everybody's going into this with their eyes wide open. So they seem comfortable with those numbers. Any other questions or discussions? If not, I'll take a vote on the motion. All in favor, say aye. Ms.
Aye.
Ralston?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, motion carried. Thank you.
Okay, I wanted to just make you aware, this is kind of off the base, but now that we've awarded, or you have awarded the contract for construction of cell 7, there are some critical path issues that we're working on, and we're already engaged in making this happen, but they're not completely done yet. And I want to make you aware of it because we're going to be moving swiftly this month through this process. First is staff and our council has scheduled a meeting with Suffolk for this Friday to sit down with the development team. I've not been through this process before, but it sounds like that they have a pretty solid handle on how to do this. They bring all the players to the table, and you sit in front of them, you tell them about your project, and they give you advice on what you can and can't do. We're hopeful that one of the things that we'll be able to do is just to have a land disturbance permit and be able to get moving. But there may be some other things. We have council representatives from Wilcox Savage that will be at the table with us, and whatever we need to go through, if it's a CUP, they'll be working with us to make sure all of that happens. So that's an important meeting coming up on Friday to make sure that we're able to get started on this project on time so that it finishes on time so that we can open it cell 7 at the same time we open the flyover. Clear up the easement issues for the Magnolia property. There's no entrance access to this property that has an easement. It goes across the railroad track, and our attorneys have been working with the owner and the railroad to try to get a clear easement across there before we sign. Henry is working on this project with this council, and we're going to be moving to closing this month, but there's still some issue there with access to that property. It's not that it's that important to us because it's going to be under a preservation easement. We just need to be able to get to it to do some work on it and that type of thing. We got to complete a survey to allow staff to get pricing for the tree clearing and grubbing on cells 8 and 9. That is critical because we have time of year restrictions that are getting ready to come up. We've got to get somebody on the ground there working, because until we get the trees removed and all the grubbing done, we can't start moving soil from cell 7 over to cell 8 for storage. So that's a project that Norman is working on now, trying to get to the end game there. And we got to award a contract to clear the cells 8 and 9. I'm hopeful that we can bring that back to you at our next meeting. But we still have some hurdles that we're trying to jump to make that happen. So still have a lot of things going on. We're making progress, but every time we get one step moving forward, we got something else in front of us that we're trying to deal with. So I just wanted to make you aware of those critical path issues that are before us. And with that, Mr. Chairman, I'll turn it back over to you.
All right, so the next item on the agenda is the financial report for July. That's a written only report. It's on page 31 of your agenda packet. I know it sounds like we're just moving right along, but I think the closed sessions are going to be a little bit longer than they might normally be. So at this point, I would make there's a closed session on the agenda. The people who will be present for the closed session are the board members, SPSA executive staff, SPSA council, Mr. Brett Spain and Mr. Brad Nowak, Mr. Bob Gardner from SCS Engineers, Miss Lauren Brink and Miss Emily Tuttle from HDR, and Mr. Greg Benton, the new Public Works Director for the City of Suffolk, who will be appointed as Suffolk's alternate ex officio board member at the September City Council meeting. Are there any other requests for participants to attend the closed session? Are there any concerns? Oh, I'm sorry, Ms. Williams.
Okay, we have one of our city attorneys from the city of Portsmouth, Burl Stromberg. We'd like him to remain in the.
All right, Mr. Stromberg, we'd welcome you. Are there any concerns as to the participants in the closed session from, hang on 1 minute. The closed session will be discussing the RFP, well, not the RFP, but the contract with the advanced wastewater, right? The advanced alternative, sorry, not advanced waste, alternative waste disposal.
Yes.
Contract.
Part of it, yes.
So in the, I guess in the past, we haven't allowed the council, other council members from the local bodies from that, for that subject, have we?
No. That's correct. I mean,
Okay.
it's not a requirement, but that's the distinction that we've made in the past.
So I guess up until, it has been our precedent that when we were discussing issues of the RFP and the selection of the alternative waste disposal contractor, that city attorneys from the member localities would not sit in the meetings for that particular point. They were allowed in for other issues. Now, of course, we have essentially made the selection, and we're at the final stages of this contract. It's been recommended by our executive director that that the city attorneys now be allowed, because we are at a stage where we're going to be asking the local members, our board members, our participating SPSA members, to vote on moving forward both with this contractor and with the use and support agreements. So it's been recommended that we now allow city attorneys from the local members to sit in for those sessions.
Thank you for that. I also want to note that Burl Stromberg is up for a recommendation to replace one or both of us that will be leaving at the end of our term. So it's important for him to remain for that reason as well.
Okay, and we, of course, we have allowed that. We have allowed those individuals who have been targeted by the communities to substitute as board member to participate. So that being said, are there any concerns as to the participants listed in the closed sessions? No, then yes, Mr. Hughes.
Just for clarity, if we're allowing representative city attorneys for municipalities, I also have representation, Mr. Sean Dolan. I don't know if that's just general city attorney representation or you need the name, but I'd have a similar request.
Is he here today?
Yeah.
And, okay. Well, yeah, obviously to be consistent. Is there any concern about a representative from Suffolk city attorneys? Okay, so, and who was it? What was that, his name again?
Sean Dolan.
Sean Dolan, okay. Mr. Spain, have I covered all this correctly?
Yes,
Okay.
it's up to the board, the public body, to decide who is appropriate to participate in the closed session. And if the board thinks that having counsel would be useful or necessary to assist the board in doing what it needs to do, then that would be permitted. I agree that at this stage we are going to be taking the full contract to the localities within the next month or two. So getting their counsel involved, I think, will be a necessary step. And so I think it's perfectly fine to do it now.
Okay. All right. So are there any concerns from board members about our list of participants in the closed session? Not hearing any. I will read a motion to go into closed session. And after that, with a first and a second and a vote, we'll then take a brief break as we get set up for closed session. I move that a closed session be held for discussions regarding, 1, negotiations with Commonwealth Sortation regarding its proposal received in response to the RFP issued by SPSA for solid waste disposal services in accordance with A, Virginia Code Section 2.2-3711A29 for the purpose of considering the negotiation and award of a public contract involving the expenditure of public funds and discussion of the terms or scope of such contract, where discussion in an open session would adversely affect the bargaining position or negotiating strategy of the public body, and B, Virginia Code Section 2.2-3711A8 for the purpose of consulting with legal counsel regarding specific legal matters requiring the provision of legal advice by such counsel, and 2, the proposed amendment to the existing use and support agreements being prepared in conjunction with the negotiations with Commonwealth Sortation, including strategic communications regarding the proposed amendment in accordance with Virginia Code Section 2.2-3711A8 for the purpose of consulting with legal counsel regarding specific legal matters requiring the provision of legal advice by such counsel. Do I have a motion?
Second.
I've got a motion, I think, by Mr. Broad and a second by Mr. Maxwell. Any discussion or objections? If not, we'll take a roll call vote for moving to closed session.
Mr. Maxwell,
Yes.
Mr. Story,
Yes.
Ms. Ralston,
Yes.
Dr. Baugh,
Yes.
Mr. Robertson,
Yes.
Mr. Kiefer,
Yes.
Mr. Broad,
Yes.
Mr. McCoy, Ms. Graham Williams, Ms. Lowe, Mr. Hughes,
Yes.
Mr. Leahy,
Yes.
Mr. Hanson.
Okay, so we'll take a quick break while we set up for closed session. Thank you.
Check, check. Testing, testing. Open session. Ms. Ralston, can you hear me? Ms. Ralston, I see your mic is muted. Just be sure to unmute it once the open session begins again. Thank you. Test, test.